Sequencing is when you put actions in order. This goes with debugging because when you debug, you find and fix the errors that you may have made. In code.org, and I look at my puzzle here, I need to think about the steps in order that my bird needs to follow to get to the pig. So in this particular case, I know that my bird needs to go forward 1 step, 2 steps. So I put those blocks from my toolbox in there. Move forward, when I push the run button, move forward once, move forward twice. And I can use this step button here to step myself through my program 1 step at a time, 1 block. So when I push that button, my bird goes and does the first step, move forward. If I press step again, he will do that move forward a second time. Now, let's finish out this particular sequence. So what does my bird need to do next? Well, my bird needs to turn to the left. We can see that he's facing forward, so I think about where the right and the left are in the direction that the bird is facing. So in this case, I need to turn to the left, and then I see that I'm going to move forward 1 time and a second time. I'll reset my puzzle. I can use my step button to step through every single step of the way until I meet the goal of getting the pig. When we write sequences, we also do something called debugging. Debugging is nothing more than finding and fixing errors in your program. Now, in this particular case, here is that step button. That's going to come into play for this particular puzzle. If I step through this puzzle, I can see that Laurel, my little figure here, moves forward, and then Laurel's going to pick up that gem. The next step is moving forward, and then pick up the gem. But I notice in this step that Laurel turns to the left, and I don't want Laurel to turn to the left, because if the character Laurel does that, and I push the next step, it goes forward away from the gems. So let's reset this puzzle and do some debugging, finding and fixing those errors for this particular sequence. So here was that left-hand turn. I could tear my blocks off the bottom, put it back into the toolbox, get the turn right block, and piece everything back together and run my sequence. Another way you could solve that is also by clicking or choosing the arrow and choosing the particular turn that you need to do without having to go back to the toolbox. I can use my step button, and now I have a sequence that works correctly. Laurel turns to the right, moves forward, and collects that gem. So let's review. So sequencing is putting those steps in order. Remember to use that step button to help you out with that. Debugging is when you go in and find and fix those errors. So when something is not working, when you use that step button, you're able to see the error and then go in and fix it.